I just want to touch bases on Lance, man, with his stress levels. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Uh, the reason why I'm concerned about it is because I'm a father of three. I got a
Okay.
14-year-old, got a
Mm.
17-year-old, and I got a 23-year-old with a
Okay.
daughter. So I'm a grandpa. You feel me?
Okay.
And
Okay.
to watch Lance, bro, transition from where he was coming into the NFL to where he's at now, I'm happy for him, bro. Because for him to say like he's finally getting help,
Hmm.
uh, one thing too is like the help that he's getting, you know, seeing the psychiatrist and all that. But I think he's getting help low key from Talanala Hufanga. Remember what Hufanga said about Troy Polamalu? Like, don't go on social media. Don't do that.
Yep.
Like, don't
Yep.
be doing that. Trey, what I believe Trey
He
was
was.
on social media for a minute because he
Yep.
cared what everybody thought about it.
Yep.
But I saw a
That's
little
a good
short
point.
video on him.
That's a
Yeah,
great point.
I saw a little short video that he was saying, yeah, I don't pay attention to that no more. I'll focus on where my feet is at. I'm pushing for it. That's why I'm happy now for him. Cause like with my kids, you know, transitioning from junior high to high school, I see the pressure that they go through. And that's, you know, with Trey, what he's going through, it's a lot more pressure. You see what
Way
I'm
too much.
saying?
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, man,
Yep.
I'm just really happy I see him taking steps forward, bro, as becoming from a young man to a grown man. He
Can we
has to
stick with
go
that
through these
social
things.
media thing for a second? That's a really interesting thing. Like, I feel like it's a natural tendency, a 21-year-old to really care what people think about you from in every aspect. How do I look? How do I
Exactly.
play? All that stuff. And he was constantly putting pictures of himself online. He doesn't
Yes,
do that
sir.
anymore.
He don't do
And
it
it's
no more.
finally like, okay, I don't care. I don't care.
He's starting to see. He's starting to
Yeah.
see it, bro. And that's
Yeah.
why I'm seeing him transitioning into like a grown man.
Yep.
Like he's
Yep.
starting to see how to work in the NFL. Just give him a
Yep.
chance to do that. You feel me? But
I totally agree.
I'm pushing for him, bro. And I just want to say if Trey is watching, which he probably ain't or whatever, but I just want to say, young man, and there's always gonna be bumps in the road.
Dang. He cut out just as he was giving his life advice.
That so go ahead and your business.
Hold on. You cut out the entire time when you were giving life advice. Can you do it again? Because I think he needed to hear that. The
Okay.
whole thing.
What I was
Yeah.
saying, if Trey's listening, I'm
There you
keep
go.
on pushing forward, bro. If there was no bumps in the road, there'd be nothing to get over. So just
There you
keep
go.
on going, bro, and just know that God ain't gonna put nothing in front of you that you can't handle.
Thank you, man. That was great. I appreciate it.
All right, brother.
I just wanted to
So
talk about
easy.
like just like the amount of growth that Trey Lance has obviously gone through this
Mhm.
offseason. You and your dad. I mean, the clip that the little segment about you and your dad, mentioning like, I'm genuinely wondering if Jimmy really did encourage Lance to go outside the organization. Like, I love
Yeah.
that theory.
Me too.
Um, and speaking of social media, guess who was never on social media? Jimmy. Jimmy was
No.
never on social media.
He was in
So
like
I,
college, like a very long time ago, but he
yeah,
realized
but
no.
then until he had his
No.
little, his
Yeah.
little date, then all of
You're
a
not a
sudden he
celebrity. You're not an influencer. You're just a quarterback. You can be a good one or a bad one, but you don't
yeah.
need to be on social media.
But whatever. I mean, I saw it right away. Just it was a night and day difference with the amount of confidence that Trey came out and exhibited with the joke that he said to you. Oh, they didn't tell me, come up to me and tell me I'm sad or nothing. Like,
Yeah.
I laughed. I laughed at that
Yeah.
too. But it just showed a complete difference in exuberance versus last year after his first loss, where he wanted to put everything on his own shoulders and blame himself for
Yeah.
the entire game.
Yeah.
Another thing that I just got to say, I don't know how anybody on God's green earth thinks that Brock Purdy would have won in that monsoon. Um,
Exactly.
it, it he doesn't have the arm strength, and if you look at the throws themselves individually, the throws that Trey was making, those layered throws in between the defenders,
Those were tough.
the beautiful, yeah. I mean, those are the kind of throws. It reminded me of the game that Josh Allen played in the snow versus Mac Jones. Guess who
Also,
lost
real
that
quick,
game?
no McCaffrey, no Kittle. Mitchell went
Yeah,
down after his sixth carry. Like Jimmy wouldn't have won that game. Brock wouldn't have won that game. Trey wouldn't have won that game. It wasn't going to happen. And people make fun because it was the Bears, but like the Niners beat themselves, and it
mm-hmm.
wasn't because of the quarterback position. Trey was
Well,
8 of
and
14 through the first three
how,
quarters. That's not bad for a guy in his first start of the season. Then the rain came down.
Yeah, and on top of that too, if you really think that that's so terrible what he did there, how do you explain what Jimmy did 2 weeks later in Denver?
I
You
think
know,
that
like
explains what like the offense as a whole stunk
yeah,
the first 5-6 weeks of the season.
yeah. And another thing that I was saying about like, in the game that Josh Allen played against Mac Jones in the snow, guess who won that game? Mac Jones did. But you're
Yeah,
never going to sit here and pretend that Mac
right.
Jones is a better quarterback. And on top of that, like everybody that's sitting there saying, "Oh man, if we could have gotten Mac Jones and you could have gotten Mac Jones at 3." Let's look at what I think that character matters. And I think that especially at the quarterback position, if you want an elite quarterback, typically they're high character, very confident, self-assured men, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
Brock Purdy is, and that's what Trey is. And I look at Mac Jones now and how he's developed in his year 3, and he's had nothing but just chaos surrounding him, and a lot of it's been imposed on the organization, the Patriots, because I don't think that Bill Belichick is a good GM. He may be even not that good of a coach in my eyes. That might have all been Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that Mac Jones in this situation would be faring any better because he would be complaining, or we would have heard about how disgruntled he is, or we would have heard something, and that would have been a reflection on Kyle, and Kyle's not going to tolerate that. And I don't think that would have been a good idea. My last idea is, just to round it out. I don't think that it's time to. I don't think that at the same time, if they go Brock Purdy week 1, I still don't think this is the last season for Lance, and I'll tell you why. You pontificated that Brock Purdy is like a Nick Foles. So if he goes out and he wins and they make it to the Super Bowl, and my theory is that if quarterback can have a 3-to-1 TD-INT ratio for whoever plays for the 49ers, I think that's going to deliver a Lombardi for us. And I think that's something that Brock can do. Now, at the end of the season, if they do win a Super Bowl, I don't think a lot of the team's going to be coming back. Trent Williams is going to retire. They're not going to have that left tackle anymore. They're going to have. I think that Ayuk. I don't think he's going to want to be. He's not going to want to be a QB1. I think that he would go and try to get paid big from another team. What I'm saying is that the team, Brock Purdy, if he stays, not going to have the same amount of weapons. Now, who do you think, if they win the Super Bowl, who do you think that Kyle Shanahan's going to want? Do you think he's going to want a limited quarterback that needs all the weapons, or do you think that he's going to want the guy that he can rebuild around and then have the actual elite talent at the position? Because at that point, Trey Lance is going to be 24, 25, and I think that if Brock is QB1 this year, and if they do win, or even if they don't, I don't see them continuing with him. I see them trading him in the offseason after, even if they win the Super Bowl, even if they do. And I see him. My theory is that he goes to Miami with Mike McDaniel, and I think that that's where he would go, because I think that Kyle Shanahan doesn't want to be wrong about Trey Lance, and I think that he wants to build. And if Trey Lance continues to develop on the trajectory that he's going, that I think that'll be something that would happen. I know a lot of people, when I mention that to them, they say, "Well, why would they get rid of him after the Super Bowl?" Because that's what the Phillies did with Nick Foles. He won the Super Bowl. He was a Super Bowl MVP, but they still went with the guy that they drafted higher, that they believed had more talent, and was going to be the perennial MVP of the season before he got injured. So that's a little bit about what I'm thinking about the QB position, and I want to see what your thoughts are on something like that.
Well, that's a lot of hypotheticals. We'll have to see the Niners win the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy first.